and welcome to Cheers from the Grave.
I'm Erica.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Nicole.
Our new co-host.
Yay!
Yeet.
We're all together in one room.
Yay!
Shenanigans.
I'm excited.
This is amazing.
It is.
We have a cat.
We do. We have Manny is currently sitting on
The back of your chair.
the back of the chair,
He's here.
Chilling.
chilling like
A villain.
a cat.
Yeah.
Meow. Meow. You're doing great things, Kyle. Wonderful things.
He is doing the Lord's work right now.
God left this place a long time ago.
So anyway. So hi.
Hi.
Nicole,
How's it
hello.
going?
Hello.
We're good.
First time
yeah.
we've been in a room together to record.
In a while.
Yeah.
It's been a hot
It's
minute.
my first time.
Yes.
Well, we're glad we can pop your
Don't
Podcast,
say it.
uh,
Don't say it.
cherry.
Thank you.
I mean, you've already recorded 2 episodes already.
Yeah, we did
theoretically.
cryptids
Yeah.
episodes, but this time we're gonna have a little bit from everybody.
I'm going to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a burp coming on.
Specialities.
Excuse me.
Well, that was the quietest burp of the day.
I know, right? Ugh, I have no shame.
Same.
So yeah, let's so what do we got on the docket today?
Oh, I think we got quite the assortment of things to talk about. I wanted to go into Madame Lalaurie. Not sure if you've.
I've heard of her.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Yes, she is.
She's scary.
She is terrifying. So she was born Marie Delphine McCarty in March of 1787. She was also married 3 times. So 3 people decided to marry this crazy broad.
Yeah, she was crazy broad.
Does she not have a lot of money though?
No, she was. She actually. Hold on, let me. Oof.
Because I totally respect that.
True. So she was actually one of 5 children, and her father was Louis Bartholomew de McCarty, and he was actually from Ireland. During the French colonial period, they moved to New Orleans, and they were pretty prominent in the town's European Creole community.
Okay.
Marie Delphine's, I can't talk, uncle was actually married. By marriage, was the governor of the Spanish American provinces of Louisiana and Florida. And her cousin was the mayor of New Orleans. So she had pretty much the New Orleans socialite kind of title.
Okay.
She was first married on June 11th, 1800. She married Don Ramon de Lopez y Angulo. I cannot speak. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
He was a high-ranking Spanish royal officer for the St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans. He actually died shortly after their marriage
Ooh.
while traveling to Spain.
Oh goodness.
And then so she got married a second time in 1808. So clearly her marriages are only 8 years apart. That was another thing I was noticing. I was like, holy shit. She got married in 1800, then 1808. She married in 1808 to Jean Blanc, who was a banker, merchant, lawyer, and legislator. And at the time of their marriage, they purchased their first villa in New Orleans. And she had 4 children by this man. The names were Marie, Louise, Marie. Wow, she had 2 kids named Marie. And Jeanne, I can't even pronounce this name.
How do you spell it?
Jeanne.
Jeanne?
Jeannie?
I don't know.
Jean Pierre. Woof. But her second husband actually died in 1816. And it wasn't until the third marriage in 1825 that she married physician Leonard Louis Nicholas Lalaurie, who was much younger than she was. And they actually purchased the property at 1140 Royal Street.
Okay.
She managed in her own name with little involvement from her husband. In 1832, she had a 2-story mansion built there, complete with attached slave quarters. And she lived there with her husband, her third husband, and her 2 daughters, and maintained a central position in New Orleans society. The Lalauries maintained several black slaves in slave quarters, and they were attached to the Royal Street Mansion. Accounts of Delphine Laurie's treatment of her slaves between 1831 and 1834 are very mixed. There has been writings recounting tales by New Orleans residents during 1836, claiming Lalaurie slaves were observed to be singularly haggard and wretched. However, in public appearances, Lalaurie was seen to be generally polite to black people and solicitous of her slaves' health. So she showed them off as being very healthy and well taken care of and stuff. Court records of the time showed that Lalaurie manumitted 2 of her slaves.
Has what?
Manumitted? Manumitted?
How do you spell it?
M-A-N-U-I. Hold on. M-A-N-U-M-I-T-T-E-D. Which was to
Release from
free them.
slavery,
Yeah,
set free.
was to release them from slavery. In 1819 and 1832. There were public rumors about Lalaurie's mistreatment of her slaves, that they were sufficiently widespread that a local lawyer was dispatched to Royal Street to remind the Lalaurie of the laws for the upkeep of slaves. During this visit, the lawyer found no evidence of wrongdoing or mistreatment of the slaves by Lalaurie. But there were other tales that were announced that were like cruel and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, she was a crazy bitch.
Yes, she was. There is a story about a 12-year-old girl named Leah who fell to her death from the roof of the Royal Street Mansion while trying to avoid punishment from a whip-wielding Delphine Lalaurie. Leah had been brushing Delphine's hair when she hit a snag, causing Delphine to grab a whip and chase her.
Oh, shit.
The body was subsequently buried on mansion grounds, and according to a person writing the report, the incident led to an investigation of the Lalauries in which they were found guilty of illegal cruelty and forced to forfeit 9 slaves.
Oh, damn.
These 9 slaves were eventually bought back by the Lalauries through an intermediary relative and returned to the Royal Street residence. There was also the story of how her house burnt down, and they actually found out about all of her mistreating of slaves, and that was because of her cook. Lalaurie kept her cook chained to the stove at all times, but also denied her of food.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So this poor, malnourished slave was literally chained to the stove at all times, and she had had enough that she actually set the building on fire.
Good for them.
I know. Right? So basically what happened was on April 10th, 1834, a fire broke out of the Lalaurie residence on Royal Street, starting in the kitchen. When the police and fire marshals got there, they found the cook, a 70-year-old woman, chained to the stove by her ankle. She later said that she had set fire as a suicide attempt because she feared being punished. She said that slaves taken to the uppermost room never came back.
Oh, Jesus.
And as reported in the New Orleans Bee of April 11th, 1834, bystanders responding to the fire attempted to enter the slave quarters to ensure that everyone had been evacuated. And upon being refused the keys by the Lawleries, the bystanders broke down the doors to the slave quarters and found 7 slaves, more or less horribly mutilated, suspended by the neck, with their limbs apparently stretched and torn from one extremity to the other.
Oh, I don't like this.
They had claimed to have been imprisoned there for some months. Another one of those who entered the premises was Judge Jean-Francois Canesh, who subsequently deposed of having found that the Lalaurie mansion, among other, a negress wearing an iron collar, and an old Negro woman who had received a very deep wound on her head, who was too weak to walk.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Canage said that when he questioned Madame Lallaurie's husband about the slaves, he was told in an insolent manner that some people had better stay at home rather than come into others' houses to dictate laws and meddle with other people's businesses.
Yikes.
Yikes! I cannot. So the slaves were basically emaciated. They showed signs of being flayed with a whip, were bound in restrictive postures, and wore spiked iron collars, which kept their heads in a static position.
Oh, my God.
When the discovery of the abused slaves became widely known, a mob of local citizens attacked the Lalaurie residence and demolished and destroyed everything upon which they could lay their hands on.
Oh, Jesus.
A sheriff and his officers were called upon to disperse the crowd, but by the time the mob left, the Royal Street property has sustained major damage, with scarcely anything remaining but the walls. The slaves were taken to a local jail where they were available for public viewing. Oh my God.
What?
The New Orleans Bee reported that by April 12th, up to 4,000 people had attended to view the slaves to convince themselves of their suffering. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. Oh. There was also another newspaper at that time called the Pittsfield Sun, citing the New Orleans Advisor and writing several weeks after the evacuation of Lallaurie's slaves' quarters, claimed that 2 of the slaves found in the Lalaurie mansion had died since their rescue.
Oh, no.
It added, "We understand that in digging the yard, bodies had been disinterred and condemned in the wall, and condemned well in the grounds of the mansion have been uncovered. Others, particularly that of a child, were found." So they found tons of bodies, basically in the yard, and then also hidden throughout the house.
Ugh.
Yeah. But the sad thing is Marie Delphine Lalaurie vanished. She got away. It was said that after the fire broke out, Lalaurie fled New Orleans during the mob violence that followed the fire, taking a coach to the waterfront and traveling. There are many different theories that she went to France or that she stayed in New Orleans but took on a different identity, that sort of thing. But
someone of her stature, like, you would think that she would be very recognizable.
exactly.
So, like, how can you stay in town?
Well, that's
after-
there was another one. It was because I'd been reading all about her throughout all different sort of websites and research, and there was one that her daughter, they placed a tombstone. What was it, in 1849? Stating that her mother had died in Paris, but actually there was nothing. There's no body. There's nothing.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
jeez.
They're unsure. So after pretty much all this happened, it took a few years before the slaves came, forward and claimed what had happened. But there had been lots of accounts saying that the majority of male slaves were found naked, chained to the wall with their eyes gouged out. Their fingernails were pulled off by the roots.
No!
Joints had been skinned.
No!
And with festering holes.
Oh. No.
Holes in their buttocks where flesh had been sliced
No.
away, their ears hanging by shreds, and their lips were sewn together.
Oh God, I hate this so much.
I know. Intestines were pulled out and knotted around their naked waists, and there were holes in the skulls.
What?
There were some accounts of them finding slaves that had clearly been dead with their skulls open in a hole with a wooden spoon next to them because they were claimed to have had their brains stirred. So, yes. I agree with that sound you were making. This lady was the most horrific person I could probably think of.
I feel sick.
I know. Her house has been restored from as of normal for today. But also, if you ever look at a picture, you'll notice that on the one of the sides of the building, there's a window that is cemented up. And it's because one of her slaves jumped from the window to kill himself.
Oh, Jesus.
And Lola Ree said it wasn't going to be like an easy escape like that, so she cemented up the window so no other slave could do it again. But they have rebuilt the mansion, and you can actually go there and get ghost tours and stuff, as well as I believe they do, like they let you stay there if you choose, if you want to do like an overnight haunting tour and stuff as well.
I don't know if I would ever want to
I
be
know.
anywhere near that because just the vibes.
But fun fact, in April of 2007, actor Nicolas Cage bought the Lola Ree house for a sum of $3.45 million.
Oh my God, why?
Yep.
What a hero.
What a hero, right? But it was listed for auction as a result of bank foreclosure in 2009 and was purchased by Regions Financial Corporation for $2.3 million.
Okay.
And they keep it as a remembrance of.
Kind of like a historic
Exactly,
site
a historical
type of deal.
site. Yep. But yeah, that's the story of the very crazy Marie Delphine Lalaurie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
She doesn't deserve to have her name.
She really does not deserve to have her
No.
name said, but this was her.
Yeah, that is messed up.
Yeah.
That is absolutely. She was a. Because I heard
She
another
was a
podcast
Creole socialite.
that there was another podcast I listened to that did a thing on this too, and
Yeah.
I just think about Kathy Bates.
Yes,
Yes!
because they did. She portrayed her in American Horror Story.
oh, that was
For Coven, right? Was it
Coven.
Coven? Yeah.
It was Coven.
Oof.
That was a good series too, or a good season actually. I really
Yes,
enjoyed
because
Coven.
Stevie Nicks was in it.
That was my favorite
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Loved it. Oh my gosh, Nicole, what do you got for us?
All right, to keep it on theme with the Cajun and Nolans. Yeah.
Let's do it.
What? Close to the mic a little bit.
All right, so for me this week, my cryptid is the Lougarou, or the Rougarou, and it's a Cajun legend. The Lougarou is a mythical creature in French, Canadian, and American folklores, which is believed to come into existence as a result of a curse. And then the word Lougarou is derived from French. In French language, the word loup means wolf, while garou means a man who can turn into a wolf. So it's basically just werewolf in English.
Okay.
And then the belief in Lougarous is especially strong among French Canadians, Cajun people, and the people of Louisiana. According to a Cajun legend, the Lougarous wander around in forests and swamps of greater New Orleans and Acadiana. These creatures have a man's body and a wolf's head, very similar to legends regarding werewolves and lycanthropes. Stories in Cajun folklore about the Lougarou were mostly used to scare children and teaching them how to behave. So, the common theme with a lot of monsters. On a side note, Lougarous were believed to hunt and kill Catholic Christians not observing Lent and abide by its rules.
So it's kind of like Krampus, just like
It's a fucked up version of
It's a-
Krampus.
yeah.
But you
that's-
can't turn into a Krampus, though.
No, but he would eat you if you didn't celebrate or want to celebrate Christmas or something.
If you were bad, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, they used,
Anti-Santa.
yeah, it was a yeah.
And for those that don't know, Lent is a religious observance period of repentance, fasting, and preparation for the Easter that takes 40 days, excluding Sundays. So after Mardi Gras and Nolans, they do Lent.
Okay, yes, that's right, they do.
Mm-hmm. And then the Lugaroo curse. And how does one become a Lugaroo? There are different beliefs and different folklores regarding a Lugaroo curse. One of the beliefs related to the French Catholics suggests that a person will transform into a Lugaroo or a Rougarou if he breaks the rules of Lent for 7 consecutive years. And this is really funny to me because if you break it for 1 year, no big deal. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're okay. But once the 7th year hits, you turn into a Lugaroo. Very specific, but we'll take it.
Yo, then that means I've been one because
We're way past due.
We're way past due.
According to another belief, the transformation of a human being into a Lugaroo results from a spell. A person put under the Lugaroo curse will remain in that form for 101 days, once again, very specific, and the curse will be passed on to another human being when the Lugaroo draws that person's blood. Another myth suggests that only a witch can put a Lugaroo curse on a person, either by becoming a wolf herself or simply cursing people with lycanthropy. What are you doing?
I got the Loch Ness Monster. I'm sorry.
Oh my
Cut
God.
that out. We're not there yet. We're not there. Cut this all out, guys. Okay. An expert on Cajun folklore, Professor Barry Jean Ancelet of the University of Louisiana, wrote in an article that Lugaroos were a result of a curse, but sometimes a person voluntarily chose to become one. Odd.
Why would someone want to voluntarily become a werewolf?
I mean, it would be kind of cool.
How,
Just to try it out, maybe.
Just to try it out?
But it would have to be that way for 101 days.
That's not that. That's less than a year.
But
It's still 101 days. I'd rather have 101 Dalmatians.
That's too many.
No, that's no such
That's
thing.
100 too many. Some stories suggest that by means of their theranthropy, the ability of metamorphosing into animals, a person can transform into a Lugaroo. The origin of the myth regarding Lugaroos dates back to medieval France. The myth changed with time, and in the 16th century, people started to believe the Lugaroo curse was a genetic occurrence and not something that could be transferred from one person to another. So can you imagine your great-grandma's like, you're going to turn into a wolf one day. He's got to go with it.
Isn't that kind of what happened with Red Riding Hood, though?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, no, because a wolf disguised...
Aren't you German? Shouldn't you know that story?
Yeah, Red Riding Hood was the wolf.
What?
Unless
The grandmother... No, there was a wolf, and the grandmother...
But Red Riding
and
Hood
the
also
wolf
became a wolf.
Did she?
Yes. In German folklore, we had...
Check out our new podcast discussing German folklore.
I feel like this needs to be another episode.
Catch us next week.
I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to be a wolf, though, like a werewolf.
I don't know either. I would not want to be a werewolf.
Like, why would you voluntarily decide?
I think I would. I'd like to try
But
it
doesn't
out.
the change hurt? Like, I feel like change... Do they stay in that... They stay in that form continuously?
Is it continuously, or is it only during full moons? Like,
I think it's just at nighttime. Maybe it is continuously. Let's see. No, I do believe, continuously for the 101 days. All right, some abilities and weaknesses of the Lugaroo. According to the myth, Lugaroos become able to shapeshift after they eat a piece of human flesh. They have superhuman strength to the extent that they can easily break bones, in addition to being super fast and agile.
oh, Jesus.
That seems like fun.
So wait, you want to try it out, but you're going to have to eat human flesh. Is that something that...
So, question with that. Does that mean you become a cannibal for 101 days? Or because you are actually a werewolf, it doesn't count as cannibalism?
Oh.
I'm asking real questions here.
I don't think it counts because you're another creature at that point.
I know, but if your original
But
being
still.
is human,
That's...
Let's keep reading into it. I think
sorry, holy
She's
shit.
like, stop interrupting me with your
no,
questions.
I think I have the answer to your question.
Oh, here we go.
Lugaroos in Native American folklore. Lugaroos mostly identified with the Wendigo.
Oh,
Yep.
the Wendigos.
Yup, in Native American folklore. These two creatures are defined to have similar characteristics. That being said, one must become a cannibal to become a Wendigo, according to the beliefs. So I think you were right. We're on the same page there.
Chicka, yeah.
All right. Some people believe that Lugaroos are weak against fire, and fire is the only way to destroy these creatures. So kind of like Frankenstein monster, similar. That's the only way I seem to like kill certain creatures.
Yeah. With fire.
Everyone's afraid of fire. Others believe that decapitation will do the job, and this is the way to kill a Lugaroo. Mutilating the body and cutting it into small pieces is one of the sure ways to do it. So you got to get pretty violent with that.
Oh, jeez.
Alrighty, so some people even suggest that the stories regarding Lugaroo are derived from the myth regarding the Bigfoot, which I think is just something that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it real? Is it not?
All right, yeah, that's kind of it.
Well, thank you.
That's crazy.
Now, how do you pronounce it again? Lugaroo?
Lugaroo. So loop-garoo.
Loop-garoo?
Yeah, so Lugaroo.
Oof.
Because you know how in French some of the P's are silent?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Garoo.
in France, it's actually just Rougarou.
Rougarou.
Mm-hmm.
Rougarou.
What?
Rougarou. That's my French accent. Sorry.
I think they changed the name to Mantis, but at Cedar Point, they had a roller coaster called the Rougarou.
Okay.
Yeah, so we couldn't stop saying that name.
Oh my
the whole
God.
time.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
good. Thank you.
They seem like fun creatures, kind of scary, kind of like
Yeah.
a werewolf, but just in New Orleans.
I don't know what's fun about being a cannibal. Cannibalism is like one of like my worst fears. Honestly, I can't.
I think that's why I absolutely detest The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh my God,
Like watching that
yes.
just because they were starting to eat. No.
I don't mind the cannibalism. I was just uncomfortable with the nuclear radiation to form
Yeah,
people.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So true.
That part got me more.
I
Wait,
think.
is that one of the areas that we have to run through in order to get to Area 51?
Oh shit.
Shit.
Give me 1 second.
That's
I'll
how they get
research
to
it.
us.
Oh my God.
We all just become
Yo,
nuclear.
did you know that Facebook page
mutants.
was taken down?
Yes, it was. But I am still on the sister page of They Can't Stop Us All Area 51 raid. So we haven't gotten stopped yet on
That's
that
amazing.
one. So
That's
I'm really glad about
amazing.
that. But did you also know that the CIA and FBI both went after the guy who created the event?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor guy.
I know.
He's like, I was literally doing it as a joke.
But I thought was hilarious is when they interviewed him, he was dressed in a
Naruto.
Naruto like outfit, and I was just like, this explains everything.
I love him.
He is the hero among heroes.
All right, I did the research. Hills Have Eyes, New Mexico.
Okay, good. We don't have to go through that.
No.
Bless.
Fuck that noise.
Anyway, so Erica, hey, what do you have for us?
Hey, okay, so going along the New Orleans theme today. So mine's going to be a shorty, quickie one. Quickie but goodie.
Nothing wrong with that.
So I decided to do a little bit of research on the St. Louis Cemetery. Now, there's actually 3 graveyards that is St. Louis Cemetery. It's basically St. Louis 1, St. Louis 2, and St. Louis 3 because they were just unoriginal with their names and their thinking. And they're like, 1, 2, and 3. There you go, done. So 1 is the oldest and the most famous. It opened in about 1789, replacing the no longer existent St. Peter Cemetery as the main burial ground when the city was redesigned after a large fire in 1788. It takes up about 8 blocks and is close to the French Quarter. In 1975, it was listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. So in that cemetery, bodies were buried above ground in tombs due to the water table levels being so high. So basically, if they were buried underground, the bodies would just float back up to the top.
Yeah. I think that was an issue during Katrina.
Yeah, they had some issues, but this cemetery actually, for the most part, held up pretty well during Katrina. Because a lot of them were in mausoleums and everything, there is still some like stucco damage and stuff like that you can see. But for the most part, the cemetery is actually held up fairly decently.
That's good.
So they utilize what they call oven vaults or wall vaults, where tombs are stacked filing cabinet style, one on top of another. After a family member is buried, it's actually left undisturbed for a year and a day. And at that point, it can be pushed back in the tomb, leaving room for another body to be placed inside. So some of the graves are only partially visible now. It's because of the evidence that New Orleans is actually gradually sinking.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't all of America gradually
we
sinking?
are gradually sinking.
But that really puts it into perspective.
Yeah, no, it does. It's crazy. Because when I read that, I was like, holy crap. Like, graves that you could once see, like, are now slowly sinking into the earth. So if you want to be buried there, you can pay about $40,000, which is about the going price for a plot. And going down that rabbit hole, Nicolas Cage
Oh, no.
bought a plot, which is a 9-foot pyramid-shaped tomb in 2010 with the words Omnia ab uno, which means all from one or everything from one, which is from National Treasure.
I was about to say.
Literally the first thing
Can
I
he
saw
please be buried with the Declaration of Independence?
Oh my God.
I think they should allow him to be buried with the
They
Declaration.
should.
Like, yeah.
So the thing is, when I first saw the picture of the pyramid, I'm like, my first thought was National Treasure, because goddamn. So let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit. A time traveler or even a vampire, they suggest that Cage built the pyramid because he needs a place to regenerate.
Yes. I agree.
There are actually 2 pictures that are found online that are basically Cage's doppelgangers, but they believe it's Nicolas Cage because, again, they think he's either a time traveler or he's just immortal.
So, like Keanu Reeves, then.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Keanu Reeves.
He's trying to be.
He's trying to.
No one will ever be Keanu.
Some people believe he's actually part of the Illuminati and also built the pyramid to hide money inside. The tomb is...
But didn't he go bankrupt?
He did.
Because his money's stuck in the
His money's
pyramid.
stuck in the tomb.
Okay. But he went bankrupt before that because they had to sell the Lalaurie mansion in 2000.
Yeah, you know, one of the
right?
roughly, I think so, because he went bankrupt and had to go and yeah. But the thing is, one of the reasons why he built the tomb where he is, like where it is, it's in one, is because that is actually next to Marie Laveau's grave, and apparently he believes that if he has, you okay there? Just okay. He believes that if he built his tomb near Marie Laveau, that she'll protect him from all the evil spirits because, you know, Madame Laurie's house was haunted as shit.
Yeah.
And so he was, because of all the bad luck and everything that he received after buying that house,
Yeah, you can say that he did.
He did. He
hit
basically-
a lot of like shitty luck after that. Dude.
Yes, see? Open up the door of conspiracy.
But let's be real
With
here.
this, is it even Nicolas Cage? Is he still alive? I bet she was actually buried under the plot because of the house.
Stop.
Oh,
I'm going full circle here.
But
my
before
God.
we continue, let me
This-
just say one thing. We all know Marie Laveau isn't going to protect him. We all know that.
No, we all know that.
She was a queen.
Yeah. So anyway, they said that this tomb is large enough for about 3 full-size caskets. And again, as I said, most people in the town think that he was cursed after he purchased Laurie's mansion. So he bought the tomb thinking that Marie Laveau would uncurse him. And the weird thing about this too is that if you go on a tour in there, you'll actually see like red lipstick, like as if someone was kissing the tomb. For some strange reason, ladies would kiss his tomb. So like if you go online and look for pictures, sometimes you'll just see like a bunch of lipstick marks
That's gross.
all over his empty tomb.
It's actually Marie Laveau.
Oh, Jesus. So speaking of Marie Laveau, let's talk about some of the famous people that are buried there.
Yes.
So Marie Laveau is actually one of the ones that is buried there. She was a voodoo queen who is believed to be interred into the Galapian family crypt. She wears brightly colored clothing with a red and white turban. She has been known to suddenly appear and then vanish in plain sight. There are also reports of scratching, pinching, shoving, touching, sudden illness, and voices. There's also large amounts of triple X's marked on her tomb. It's believed that you can make a wish at the tomb, and in order for it to come true, you must break off a piece of another tomb, spin around 3 times, scrape 3 X's into her tomb, and do a special knock. Then an offering is left at her tomb in order for your wish to come true. X's that are circled are said to mean that the wish had come true. Now, her final resting place is restricted to tours only due to the amount of vandalism that's occurring. So, yeah, they actually, because of the amount of vandalism that was occurring to her tomb, the town in New Orleans, or the city of New Orleans, was like, no, we can't be having this. This is disrespectful to the graves. Like, we're gonna have to restrict it now. So that's one of her things, and I'm sure later on we can do a whole thing about her.
Yeah.
But another ghost, and this is sad, is Henry Vines, Vignes. I think it's Vines or something. He was a nomad and a sailor in the early 19th century. He had no real true home. However, he created one for himself at a local boarding house. He was always concerned about his paperwork, like really, really super concerned, and had asked the proprietor of the boarding house to keep his papers safe, including his plot title as St. Louis Cemetery 1 while he was at sea in case of sickness or death. So the proprietor promised to look after Henry's belongings, but betrayed Henry and sold his tomb to the highest bidder.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a snake.
Yep.
Oof.
So poor Henry was unable to remedy the issue privately or legally, and later on he fell ill and passed away. So since his tomb was auctioned off, he was unable to purchase a new tomb. His final resting place became an unmarked grave in the pauper section of the cemetery, but his spirit still lingers. He is described to be tall with blue eyes, and he's been known to stroll up to visitors and ask where the Vines tomb is located since he is having trouble finding it. He also appears at funerals mourning and asking if there might be any room in a tomb for him. His apparition has also been caught on camera, and there's also an EVP recording of him saying, "I need to rest."
Oh, wow.
So that poor soul is just like, my tomb,
Lost forever.
he's in an unmarked grave, and he's just like, his soul can't rest because he doesn't have a marked grave, and he's kind of just looking around. It's sad.
They did him dirty.
Does nobody want to help him now?
I don't know.
I don't know if you can.
I think it's up to us.
I think it is. I think. That was a ghost. That was a ghost of Emma. No, I think we need to go to New Orleans.
I think we need to go to New Orleans and find this Henry guy and be like, yo, let's just buy a plot for $40,000 and move his bones into it.
Yeah, so if you want to donate to our grave fund.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Find Henry's bones. And that's another thing, too, because if it's an unmarked grave, they could be anywhere.
They really could.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And just imagine the amount of work you'd have to do just to, like, dig everything up and then even if it's possible, do a DNA test, and it would be impossible.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have anything to go off of it.
Nope. Sucks. There's one other person. His name is Alphonse. Like Henry, he too is also searching for a place for his soul to rest. His spirit has been known to take visitors by the hands, and he smiles widely and asks them to bring him home. His apparition has been seen gathering flowers off of other graves and placing the offerings on his tomb. So he'll just go and, like, steal other people's offerings and put them on his tomb. He's like, no, this is mine. These are mine. It is also thought that he was betrayed or murdered by the Pineed family because every time a visitor steps foot near the tomb, he appears and warns them to stay away. There's one other thing. In St. Louis Cemetery 2, there's actually a number of famous jazz and rhythm and blues musicians that are buried there, but also Madame Laveau's daughter is buried there as well.
Okay.
Marie Laveau, her name is actually Marie Laveau too, but she's been buried there, and apparently there's been a lot of paranormal activity around there as well, and some people have also done the whole X markings on her tombstone as well. Yeah. But that's what I got. Shorty but a quickie. Shorty but a goodie. Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you.
No problem. So thanks for listening.
Yes.
We first and foremost, we do appreciate your patience with the podcast. I know that we have been a little late on dropping the episodes lately. It's just with scheduling conflicts and illnesses on our parts and everything. It's just been preventing us from recording when we would like. But this week we are going to drop 2 episodes
Yes.
to kind of make up for that fact. So that way it'll just, as a sorry. Also on top of that, we are changing our drop days from Thursdays to Saturdays. This will give us more time to edit. Also give us a little bit more time to record as well, so we're not pressed on time. There's also a possibility of maybe moving that to Sundays, but I'm not sure yet. I've been kind of debating, but I think Saturdays might be better. And then also another thing that we were thinking about doing is possibly doing a drawing where one of the things that would be extremely helpful is, writing reviews on Apple iTunes.
Yes.
When you write reviews on Apple iTunes and rate us, it actually helps us on one end, because that way more people will be able to see our podcast. So if you would like to be entered into a drawing to be able to win merch of your choice within max of $30, then we would love for you to be entered in that. In order to do so, you just got to rate and review us and take a screenshot of that and send it to cheersfromthegrave@gmail.com. And from there, we'll go ahead and
Put your name in a
put
drawing.
the name in the drawing, and then we'll go from there. So,
And with that being said, if you have any listener stories, please send them our way. We always love hearing from you, whether it's your personal story, somebody else's story, or anything that you want us to talk about. Please send them to us as well at our email at cheersfromthegrave@gmail.com.
yep. We are a little bit desperate on the stories. There are 2 other emails that popped in that we're kind of saving, but we would love to have more listener stories. So please, please, please send them in. And then what else? Anything else?
But you can check us out on Twitter at Cheers From Grave, Instagram at Cheers From the Grave, Facebook at Cheers From the Grave, and even our website at www.cheersfromthegrave.com.
Yep. Nicole, you got anything?
No, thanks for having me. New co-host. I'm excited.
Yay!
We're excited to have you.
Yes. Anyway, I'm Stephanie,
I'm Erica.
And I'm Nicole.
and you are listening to
Cheers from the grave.